And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, have we got a show for you today. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news. New legislation, the IRS loses. And I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. And then on today's show, we have special segments. We're going to start off with John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and me. We're going to be talking politics on the Conservative Syndicate. And then later on this afternoon, we'll have David Garrett. He's back from his vacation, and we'll do Garrett on the Law. And before that, I want you to stand by for news. But before that, at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're going to encapsulate the news for you so we can cover a lot of things that let you know what's going on, and then we'll get more in depth. Right now, it's 10 things you need to know for Friday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, the stories that will be talked about today, Friday, and tomorrow, Saturday. First off, fireworks fly in the first one-on-one Democratic debate. Hillary Clinton accuses Bernie Sanders of subjecting her to an artful smear, while Sanders suggests the former Secretary of State is a captive of America's political establishment. And what's posing new challenge in the fight against to halt Zika? 2 people in southeastern Brazil have contracted the virus through blood transfusions, perhaps the first instances of Zika spreading that way during the current outbreak. And a drug exec angers lawmakers. Smirking Martin Scarelli takes the fifth at a Capitol Hill hearing when asked about his jacking up of drug prices. Matter of fact, he jacked the prices up for AIDS-related drugs 5,000%. Well, why police suspect the girl slaying was carefully planned? The 2 Virginia Tech students charged in killing bought cleaning supplies and a shovel before arranging a pre-dawn rendezvous with the 13-year-old, a prosecutor alleges. And the Islamic State group advances in Libya. The extremists have taken advantage of the political chaos in the country to gain a foothold with worrying implications for the U.S. and Europe. Well, who's prepared to put boots on the ground? A Saudi military spokesman says the kingdom is ready to send ground troops to Syria to fight the Islamic State group. And internal emails damaging to Michigan's governor. Rick Snyder's administration was aware of a surge in Legionnaire's disease potentially linked to Flint's water long before the governor reported the increase to the public last month. And Obamacare beats expectations for sign-ups. That means Republicans may find it harder to deliver on their promises to repeal the health care law. And the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire dies at age 74. Maurice White's horn-driven band sold more than 90 million albums and made hits like September, Shining Star, and Boogie Wonderland. And then finally, time's been kind to NFL's Goodell. A year ago, the NFL was beset by Deflategate, the Ray Rice case, and head trauma to former players. Today, the commissioner's job has never been safer. Well, for a guy that makes $40 million plus a year, that ain't a bad job, right? No, that's not a bad job at all. Let's talk about some in-depth news. Well, Cruz's 2016 strategy focuses on turning out white voters. Ted Cruz has mapped out a path to the White House that all but ignores the explosion of minority voters in America. The Texas senator's general election strategy depends almost wholly upon maximizing turnout among millions of conservative white voters, mostly evangelical Christians and the white working class, who didn't participate in the last presidential contest. At the same time, Cruz's team is banking on a sharp decline in black and Hispanic supporters for the 2016 Democratic nominee, whoever it is, returning to voter trends before Barack Obama shook up the electorate as the nation's first black president and won an overwhelming share of support from non-white voters. It is a strategy that defies the conventional wisdom of the GOP that says the party can win the White House again only if it appeals to political moderates and non-white voters who are becoming a greater share of the voting age population as each day passes. Wow. You know what? Not only do they discourage voting, but it seems to me they want to make sure that, and the reason they do that is because, when voters actually show up to shows, when Democrats show up to the polls, Democrats usually occupy the White House. That's the problem. If they don't show up, then we will get a Republican in the White House. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a problem, depending on who actually gets it. Well, let's talk about, in Brazil, pregnant women are urged to be cautious with a kiss. In a sign of mounting global concern over the Zika virus, health officials today warned pregnant women to think twice about the lips that they kiss and called on men to use condoms with pregnant partners if they have visited countries where the virus is present. UN officials also called on many Catholic majority countries in Latin America to loosen their abortion laws to allow women to terminate pregnancies if they rear a fetus that may be at risk for a rare birth defect that causes brain damage and an abnormally small head, which may be linked to the virus. A flurry of recommendations began in Brazil, where a top health official warned pregnant women to be cautious with their kisses. Paulo Gadella, president of the Fiocruz Research Institute, told a news conference that scientists have found live virus in saliva and urine samples, and the possibility it could be spread by the two bodily fluids requires further study. Wow, this thing gets worse and worse. It's, excuse me, it's just sounding really, really bad. Well, speeches that earned Clinton millions remain a mystery. Hillary Clinton told voters in the latest Democratic debate, "There's hardly anything you don't know about me." Just minutes later, she got tangled in a question about a part of her resume that is an enduring mystery. In the 18 months before launching her second presidential bid, Clinton gave nearly 100 paid speeches at banks, trade associations, charitable groups, and private corporations. The appearances netted her $21.7 million, and voters very little information about what she was telling top corporations as she prepared for her 2016 campaign. What she said, or didn't say, to Wall Street banks in particular, has become a significant problem for her presidential campaign as she tries to counter the unexpected rise of Democratic rival Bernie Sanders. He's put her in an awkward position of squaring her financial windfall with a frustrated electorate. Well, we'll see. Will she release those transcripts? Who knows? In any event, when we come back from this first commercial message, we're going to talk about Clinton and Sanders' missteps, and there were a number of them. So don't go away. I'll tell you all about them right after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call. at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Well, here's an Associated Press fact check. Clinton and Sanders have some missteps here. The latest Democratic debate found Hillary Clinton in a defensive crouch about her Wall Street ties and making iffy claims about that long-time relationship. Rival Bernie Sanders offered a rumbling account of a campaign ad that boasted of endorsements that were bogus. A look at some of their assertions and how they compare with the facts. Let's talk about it. Clinton first says, I went to Wall Street before the crash. I was the one saying, you're going to wreck the economy because of these shenanigans with mortgages. I called to end the carried interest loophole that hedge fund managers enjoy. The actual facts, though, Clinton was not nearly as tough talking with Wall Street as she suggested in that remark in her previous characterizations of her December 2007 speech. In a video of a speech obtained by ProPublica, she thanked her wonderful donors. In the audience, said banks were not the actors primarily to blame for the emerging crisis, not by a long shot, and praised Wall Street for its contribution to the economy. At the same time, she said Wall Street had a hand in worsening the crisis and called for voluntary steps on foreclosures and subprime mortgages. Altogether, she delivered a mixed message, not the unalloyed lecture that she portrayed on Thursday night in her earlier debate, when she claimed the speech's basic message to Wall Street was, cut it out. Well, what about Sanders? He asked about his campaign ad that cites two New Hampshire newspapers among groups endorsing him, said, as I understand it, we did not suggest that we had the endorsement of a newspaper. We never said that somebody, a newspaper endorsed us that did not. What we did say is blah, 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 blah was said by the newspaper. The facts here, though? Sanders' 30-second TV ad titled Endorsed lists a variety of groups that it says are backing his candidacy, including postal workers, nurses, an environmental group, and the Nation's magazine, repeatedly using the word endorsed. Onto that list, it seamlessly adds the Telegraph in Nashua and the Valley News, quoting favorable comments printed by both newspapers. Neither newspaper's citation includes the word endorsed, but that nuance is unlikely to be noticed by viewers. Both newspapers have said they haven't made any editorial endorsement in the Democratic race. What else did Clinton say? Well, on Wall Street, they are trying to beat me in this primary. The actual fact is, Wall Street is not the anti-Clinton monolith that she implied. People in the securities and investment industry gave more than $17 million last year to super political action committees supporting her presidential run, and nearly $3 million directly to her campaign, according to OpenSecret.org, the campaign finance watchdog. Wall Street is the top industry donating to her effort ahead of the legal profession, nonprofit institutions, and others. Clinton is taking heat from Sanders over her Wall Street ties, which go back decades. The Washington Post reported Thursday that Clinton has brought in more money from the financial sector during her 4 federal campaigns for Senate and President than her husband Bill Clinton did in his quarter-century political career. In all, more than $44 million was raised for her campaigns. This includes more than $1 out of every $10, or 10%, of the money contributed for the 2016 campaign. Clinton has often talked about how much she raised from teachers as opposed to big corporate interests, but the $2.93 million given directly to her campaign last year by people in the securities and investment industry surpassed the $2.88 million given by people in education, Open Secrets found. How about Sanders? Well, almost all new income and wealth is going to the top 1%. Well, the facts? This has been a mantra by Sanders, but it relies on outdated numbers. In the first 5 years of the economic recovery, 2009 to 2014, the richest 1% captured 58% of income growth, according to Emmanuel Saez, a University of California economist whose research Sanders actually uses. Now, that's a hefty share, but far short of almost all. In the first 3 years of the recovery, 2009 to 2012, the richest 1% did capture 91% of the growth income, but part of the gain reflected an accounting maneuver as the wealthiest pulled income forward to 2012 in advance of tax increases that took effect in 2013 on the biggest earners. Many companies paid out greater bonuses to their highest paid employees in 2012 before the higher tax rates took effect. Those bonuses then fell back to 2013, and in 2014, the bottom 99% finally saw incomes rise 3.3%, the biggest gain in 15 years. Now, average wages also showed signs of picking up last year as the unemployment rate fell, suggesting the bottom 99% may have also seen gains in 2015. Well, enough of that. It's enough for you to know that they're making up these numbers as they move along. So a person has got to be a little cautious about what's going on. Let's talk about the Assange sex case sinks in international quagmire. It started more than 5 years ago as what appeared to be a fairly simple sex crime case. 2 women in Sweden came forward to accuse Julian Assange of sexual misconduct. Now the case is mutated into a complicated international drama involving Britain, Sweden, and the United States, Ecuador, a host of human rights lawyers, and the United Nations. But when the dust settles from an unexpected UN working group's finding today that Assange has been unlawfully detained, the painful stalemate is expected to continue, and Assange, though claiming full vindication, will most likely remain cooped up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. The panel did say his stay at the embassy, which he earned voluntarily or entered voluntarily in 2012, constitutes arbitrary detention and that he should be set free and compensated for lost time. Lawyer and legal blogger Carl Gardner said the finding beggars belief and pointed out it isn't legally binding. Nobody will have to do anything as a result of this finding, he said. Well, you know what? They just keep, if you got a good lawyer, they're going to maneuver as much as they can. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, you got it. The IRS loses. And the first case is an IRS split case. A tax prosecutor escapes the tax for 1 year, but is penalized for other years. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And let's get right to it. In the first case, the IRS has a split decision here. Tax protester he escapes tax for 1 year, but he's penalized for other years. Let me tell you about it. An individual didn't file returns for 4 years, including the year 2000. Now, when the IRS assessed tax and moved to levy against him, he went to the IRS Office of Appeals. However, he made only frivolous arguments questioning the IRS's authority, so appeals upheld the levy. He then went to court, and this is what the judge had to say. The appeals officer's report said that she was unable to verify that a deficiency notice had ever been sent to the taxpayer for 2000. The notice was a requirement for the IRS to collect tax, so it can't collect the tax for that year, but it can collect tax for the other years, and the taxpayer is penalized, get this, $6,000 for making the frivolous arguments. You know what? You can't make just frivolous arguments, but he did win that first one, but he got by and he got lucky. How about this? The IRS loses. Military retiree wins a refund. Robert Vircher retired from the military and drew retirement pay. He then applied for tax-free disability benefits and received them retroactively. He wasn't entitled to receive both for the same period, so some disability benefits were withheld to reimburse for the retirement system. But the Veterans Administration, the VA, withheld an amount to repay Vircher's gross retirement pay, not the after-tax amount that he actually received. He said that making this reimbursement from the tax-free disability benefits caused his taxes to be overpaid. So he sued the IRS and the VA for a refund. This is what the court said. They found for Vircher Using tax-free funds to repay a taxable amount caused him a loss that he is entitled to have refunded. Now, he not only got a refund of that tax amount, but he also got the interest for that, and he also got to collect what it cost him for the attorney to file the suit to get this satisfaction. Now we're talking, right? Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. A husband escapes the tax on his wife's embezzlement. Yeah. A wife stole $40,000 from her employer without her husband knowing. What the heck was that? I don't know what the heck that was, but I don't want it anymore. Anyway, without her husband knowing. When the theft was discovered, her lawyer told her to report it as income to minimize penalties. But the IRS bars a couple who have signed a joint return from switching to a separate return, so her husband had to file an amended joint return with her. He later said that he shouldn't be liable for the tax due on the money that she stole, but the IRS said that he didn't qualify for innocent spouse relief because he voluntarily signed the return knowing the tax was due. He went to court. This is what the judge said. This general rule poorly fits the facts of this case. Equity requires that the husband be granted relief, and he was, and didn't have to pay the tax on his wife's embezzlement. Well, you know what? You've heard me say many, many times, wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is talking about things and making decisions? Well, that's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS. Sounds a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Oh, yeah, here we are. You know what? Let me just give you the first taste. What do you think? Going to jail for a tax crime, even if you reported all of your income? Think about it. When the IRS can't prove you failed to report all of your income, it may still be able to prove you committed a tax crime. So you need to be alert to this. Small business owners have a tendency to hire employees off the books to save payroll taxes, avoid union assessments, and attract foreign aliens not permitted to work in this country. If the IRS decides to pursue a criminal case, it'll claim that the small business owner willfully aided and abetted in the filing of false payroll tax returns. Another crime the IRS will attempt to charge is obstruction of justice if the person being audited tells his or her friends and business associates what to say or not say if they are contacted by the IRS investigators. So, you know what? Be careful. You could wind up spending some time away from home in one of those famous federal resorts. You don't want that to happen. How about this? Lawsuits against the largest accounting and law firms for faulty tax shelter advice. Yeah. Here's the thing. Unhappy investors in tax shelters structured by some of the biggest and most prestigious accounting and law firms in the country have continued their lawsuits in state courts seeking recovery under favorable state law. Now, let me give you a little background. The big companies created very complex and exotic transactions designed to shelter income. When the IRS began to audit these deals, they were shown to be complex, uneconomic shams that simply generated tax savings. Investors are seeking damages for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, negligent misrepresentation, breach of contract, malpractice, and civil conspiracy. So, you know what? They're going after the big guys. Just know that that's what's going on. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be with John Matthews and Joe Hakos as we do our twice-a-week Conservative Syndicate simulcast. Well, I don't know why I got tongue-tied with that. In any event, you don't want to miss it. We've got good stuff. I'm sure we're going to be talking about last night's debate. It ought to be really interesting. You know, I already talked to you a little bit about it. Let's see what John and Joe have to say about it. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 48 degrees. Well, if you're one of our listeners in New York City, it's 37 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, it's 33 degrees and mostly cloudy. You know what? We're now waiting on the line for our own John Matthews and Joe Hakos. We do a simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate show that picks up an extra 8 stations or so twice a week. We do that on Monday. We do that on Friday. And it's a fun thing. It's an interesting thing to do. They'll be with us in about 50 seconds or so. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about last night's debate against the one-on-one debate against Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. There'll be a lot of things. It'll be interesting to see what Joe and John have to say about it. They are very inclined to be critical of anything that's Democratic, or Democrat, I should say, or liberal. So we'll see what they have to say about it. There was certainly they would be right to talk about the difference between fact and truth, because a lot of that went on. But as far as the debate itself was concerned, I think it was one of the best that I've seen in all the debates, whether it be conservative or liberal, and that's been really a good thing. So in any event, John will be with us, John and Joe will be with us in just about 3 or 4 seconds. I'm not sure. They should be calling in any second. They're scheduled to call in at 3:35. But you know what? They're in a commercial break. They got to wait for the commercial break to end, and then they'll call in, and they'll be with us in just one moment, and then we'll get right to it. You know, that's the way she usually works. So we'll just see what happens. In the meantime, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to come out with words and keep things going and tell you what's happening. but it's going to be terrific. You know, I don't know, for those of you who live in the Southland, it's going to get warmed up next week. We're going to get up into the 80s, and that's kind of weird weather, if you ask me. Anyway, John and Joe are going to be calling right now. Here they are, and we're with John Matthews and Joe Hakos and the Conservative Syndicate. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. It sounds like you guys are in a storm over there.
No. Well, not outside of the regular storm that's known as politics, but you know that. You live out too. You there? Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So listen, but
are you there?
Yeah, I am. Can you? Hey, Joe, can you hear me? Okay.
I don't know. Just don't know anymore.
Listen, did anybody watch the one-on-one debate last night?
No.
Did anybody listen to it?
No.
Did anybody read it?
Oh yeah,
But you know what? The sad thing about reading it, guys, is that then all you can do is find out what they said that was not factually accurate, which was an awful lot of stuff that they talked about. Other than that, I got to tell you, I think it was one of the best debates that I've seen of all the conservative and liberal debates. You know, they actually went at each other. You know, we don't get to see that so much. When it comes to issues, when it comes to the conservative side, it's more like a sideshow.
Well, you don't think there was a sideshow last night?
Oh, no, I didn't say that, but it wasn't. But at least last night, these people were at each other's throats over issues and disputing what they were saying about each other and about their policies and what worked and what didn't work. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with what they were saying, but I thought as far as a debate, it was probably the best structured debate that I've seen.
Well, in light of that thought, Bob, just say it this way. Whereas just since the previous debate, it was all about being a Democrat versus being a socialist. Last night was a debate, who's the real socialist?
Yeah, that's that. You know what? I guess you're right. I was more interested in the fact that both of them came out with these magnanimous policies that they were going to institute, the things that they were going to do. Neither one could tell you how they were going to do it, and nor would they tell you how much money it was going to cost. And both of them seemed to be stretching the truth to its limits last night.
Well, that's standard operating procedure. I think if we want to start at the comic relief. One of the very first commentaries this morning was, how is it that they let a biased reporter like Rachel Maddow sit on the panel, apparently alluding to the fact that Chuck Knox is not biased. So there, right at the beginning here, you got the idea here is that MSNBC is trying to change their image and trying to come across as, quote unquote, objective and fair and balanced. Kind of sounds like Fox News a little bit.
Well, it does. But the interesting thing is Chuck Todd does not like Hillary Clinton, and Rachel Maddow. No, I take it back the other way around. Chuck Todd, and Rachel Maddow. No, let me get this thing back. Rachel Maddow likes Bernie Sanders, and Chuck Todd doesn't like either one of them.
I'm not surprised, Bob, that you really can't tell one.
You know what? I don't know what the hell's going on. It's got to be my age, or it's got to be Friday. I'm tongue-tied for some reason today.
I'm sick and tired.
Yeah, well, the thing is, what we saw last night. This is what we saw last night. We saw a change in the Clinton campaign strategy of trying to distance herself from Obama and distance herself to Sanders. Now, because Sanders has caught up with her in the polls, and in my opinion, he is the winner of Iowa. Just the fact that he tied her when he was 30 points down just 2 weeks ago, and now he tied her. In the national polls right now, he's only down by 2%, and that's a virtual tie. So Bernie Sanders won the Iowa caucus, and so Hillary is now trying to say, well, I'm really the progressive, and I'm the progressive with more experience being a progressive.
John, here's the thing, John. Joe, let me just make this thought, and then I'll let you guys talk. I'm sorry. The thing that when you talk about Sanders was really the winner, and he really was the winner, he lost 6 delegates by coin toss. What the heck kind of a system do we have where they toss a coin over a delegate?
Well, when you're a Democrat, that's what you do. Seriously.
I thought you did that with policy, not. I thought you should do it with elections too.
You do that at the beginning of football games and the start of overtime, and when you're at a caucus and you really need to get that delegate, you flip the coin. Yeah. Hey, you talking about Hillary trying to tell everybody she's progressive? Let's let Hillary tell us. We'll just let her go.
I saw the coin. I saw the coin that they used in the coin toss, and on the heads was a picture of Hillary. On the back was her campaign logo. So there was no way that she could lose that.
It's a heads I win, tails you lose deal, right?
Yeah. This is Hillary Clinton telling us she's a progressive.
Well, didn't we have that the other day? Didn't we grow up with it? What was that old phrase we used as kids?
I don't know. If you're going to talk over the video, I can't tell you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Progressive. Well, because I am a progressive, and the root of that word, progressive, is progress. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Very big progressive goals. I don't think it was progressive, particularly progressivism, progressive. And I said, I'm a progressive who likes to get things done.
Okay, well, there you go.
And that's really what it was. It was really, apparently Hillary thinks that there are other progressives in the Democrat Party, but she's the only one that can get things done.
Yes, of course she is.
Yeah,
and she knows how. All she's got to do is accept enough money from the right people, and they'll get it done for her.
If you really listen to Hillary Clinton at this point, she is actually espousing the same dialogue or the same narrative that's coming out of the moderates on the right, and that is, I can get things done because I know how to compromise. I know how to reach across the aisles. Everybody knows me. They know my reputation. They know what a swell gal I am and how honest I am and how much integrity I have and what a hard worker I am and how I've been fighting for everybody forever. And, all that. You could substitute Chris Christie in there or not Marco Rubio. He hasn't been around long enough. But put somebody in there like a John Kasich or a Jeb Bush. You got the same exact narrative. It's just
you know what the narrative is. The narrative is talk is cheap and action is so far away you can't see it. These people say I know how to do this and I know how to do that. That does not mean that they're going to do it.
Yeah, well, we were just talking in our show just before we came on your show. I'm still waiting. I've asked people this, for a long time now. We're still waiting for somebody to tell me something that Hillary Clinton has actually done.
Well, wait, tell me. She took classified emails on her personal computer.
All right, tell me something that Hillary Clinton has done that's legal.
Oh. Well, see, you can't qualify that after the answer.
Well, how about what has Hillary Clinton done that was good for our country?
Yeah, something that would give me a piece of legislation.
She resigned as Secretary of State.
Yeah, show me something that you established and wrote as policy and got through. Show me a piece of legislation that you wrote and authored and got passed, and then show me how that benefited the country, either or. And I can tell you're going to hear crickets every single time. What she's got is the most accumulated miles as Secretary of State and a long list of donors. That's what she's got. And that's all she's accomplished.
And she's responsible for over 50% of the Clinton net worth today.
I'm sorry?
That and the fact that she is solely responsible for over 50% of the Clintons' net worth today.
And that is good for the nation?
No, I didn't say that. It's because of these speaking honorariums she's getting.
And she's actually the only one that gets paid for more speeches now than her is her husband.
Well, you know what? The interesting thing is she has earned 75% more money on this campaign than her husband had ever raised in the 25 years of his career.
Well, yeah, that's inflation for you.
Yeah.
There's your liberal economics there. Keynesian economics at work there.
Yeah, well, the nice part about Keynesian economics is that she's a smart gal. She's not going to spend her own money on her failed election.
Well, that stands to reason. Yeah, that stands to reason. We got to go to our break here. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion here with Bob Cardoza over at Rob.
All right, now we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with John Matthews and Joe Hakos after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. Well, it's currently 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. But you know what? If you're one of our listeners in Paris, France, it's 45 degrees and clear. And if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy, it's 41 degrees and clear. Well, we're waiting for John Matthews and Joe Hakos to recontact us. And there they are. We're back on the air with John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Yeah, okay. We're getting off it. So what happened? Are you still there?
I'm still here. Are you still
John,
here?
Are you there? Okay. Oh, anyway, you want to know what happens when you ask somebody, Hillary Clinton, what's her accomplishment? What has she accomplished? And you want to know what they do? This is what you get from her. You get a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Oh. If you ask Donald Trump, this is what you get.
Hey, what's that going on? Hey, what's Bill doing? You ask Hillary about Bill, and where's Bill at? And this is what you get. That's what you get.
Bill is actually running around the White House talking to these interns, and they're kind of responding.
Well, what is it? Actually, it's more like this.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Enough of Bill. I've had enough of him already. 8 years was enough of him.
Okay, so, Bob, I want to ask you, since you're on our show today, actually, I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
You said that you thought it was one of the best debate, or the best debate you've seen so far, because we actually talked about policy and stuff. Explain to me, in terms of policy, let's talk about health care.
Well, no. Hang on again. You want me to? I'm talking about the actual debate structure itself, and the fact that the debaters were able to actually talk and debate and address themselves and actually respond to each other. Not that it's not that I thought that what they were saying was factual. Now, if you want to trap me in that, I'll be happy to take the other side.
Oh, the format. You were talking about the format.
Yes.
You mean because there were two people, you could actually ask them the same question and have them respond to the same question?
Absolutely.
Like we're going to do it Fox. We're going to let everybody in the world join the debate, and then it's going to be a freaking free-for-all for 3 hours?
Well, I mean, it's kind of nice to have two people as opposed to 20.
Oh, my goodness, Bob. That's just insanity. How dare you?
Did you see what happened with the GOP standings now that guys are starting to fall by the wayside? I can't believe what's going on with Rubio.
Oh, well, go for it, John.
Well, let me ask you this, Bob. Let's switch over just a little bit to the upcoming Republican debate that's coming up.
I'm not going to watch it. There's going to be too many people.
Structure. Well, since we're talking just structure here. Okay. Content, we kind of know what that's all going to be. But the point being, in this particular case, Carly Fiorina has been eliminated altogether. She's not been asked to invite. She's not been invited to participate in the ABC debate coming up next week.
Good, because I don't like her anyway.
Okay. Well, no, it's not matter whether she's a viable candidate or not.
Okay.
Here's the deal. She came in Iowa. She beat both John Kasich and Chris Christie. No, she tied John Kasich at 1.9%. She beat Chris Christie, who only had 1.8%. She came in just under Jeb Bush, who had 2.8%. Rand Paul has dropped out of the race. He was at 4.5%. He's dropped out. She has been relegated to the non-essential personnel file, but Kasich and Christie are still going to be allowed to participate.
I think that's wrong.
Yeah, and so you tell me that there's the war on women is from the right?
No, you know what? I just think it's wrong, and I also think it's wrong for those bottom 3 or 4 people that they haven't even left yet. Let's get it with the top 3 or 4 people, and let's get a contest going instead of having them split the votes out there, and nobody knows what the heck's going to go on. We can't even get a meaningful debate because there's an army. There's a football field out there.
That's what we're saying. We're saying that Christie, Bush, and Kasich should take up Mike Huckabee's and the other people, Rick Santorum. Mm-hmm. They should all be relegated to the bottom in the first debate during the day. You know, the preview, the pre-show, whatever.
Yeah.
And we should be left with the top 3.
That's right. I agree with you 100%.
And Carson is still double digits. He should be allowed to participate.
I'll tell you who I'm incensed at. I'm really ticked off at Ted Cruz for this dirty politics he pulled on Ben Carson.
You're nuts. And dirty politics. Nuts.
That's Ben Carson's fault all the way. Cut me a break.
That's Ben Carson's fault?
It is. Hey, he's a smart guy, but he did a stupid thing.
What did he do?
You don't tell people in the middle of a campaign that you're going back home and you're not going to the next place they're going to have the contest in, and you're not going to do any campaigning for like a week. You don't tell people that. What did you want people to result?
Right. He did not announce that he was dropping out of the campaign.
Bob, he did too.
I've got an article here that was posted the day that he did it. There was an accident that some of the people in his campaign were injured and killed. And he said he was going to suspend the campaign for a week because of that.
Yeah, but he wasn't dropping out of the presidential race, and that's what Ted Cruz said.
It was still stupid to do that.
Well, yes, it was stupid, but Ted Cruz still told a lie. He was dishonest in order to usurp those votes. Oh, come on. You guys, don't be blind. I know you're smarter than that.
I know you're smarter than that. For crying out loud, there's a CNN report that was retweeted.
And you believe everything you hear on CNN?
Well, apparently you do.
Oh, come on.
I'm glad we could have.
I don't believe what I heard on CNN. I believe what Ben Carson himself said. I know, and I don't like Ben Carson.
I believe Ben Carson said. He said, "You know what? Ben Carson is just mad that he's a smart guy that did a stupid thing."
Yeah.
Well, the stupid thing he did was run for president. The guy doesn't belong in that race anyway.
Oh, yeah, there's no argument about that. He's in over his head. He's a good man. He's an honest man. He's got good intentions. He's in over his head.
Hey, you know what? Ted Cruz is an attorney, and you know how to tell when an attorney's lying. His lips move.
Yeah. Oh, well. But the point being,
and I'm sure there's jokes about accountants, too.
No, there aren't.
Yes, there are.
No, there aren't. We can take any set of numbers and make them true.
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome, Bob.
Well, the other joke is, the difference between a lawyer and a catfish, right? You don't? Okay. The lawyer is a bottom dweller, and the catfish is a fish.
Well, this is really bad now.
Well, yeah, but it's getting more accurate.
Oh, no,
the point being is whatever happened between Cruz and Carson, they resolved. Cruz apologized. Carson took the apology. Cruz said we should have also turned around and retracted that. It didn't happen. We're sorry it happened. End of story.
No, I'll tell you the dumb part about it. The really dumb part about it. It did let Cruz win Iowa, but it's going to cost him in the long run because it's going to besmirch. It's going to besmirch his reputation, and that's why you see Rubio jumping up the way that he is.
Bob, he was winning Iowa anyway. That didn't cost.
Hey, listen. If you want to grow corn, you belong in Iowa.
Marco Rubio is jumping up where he's at in the polls because that is just the dynamic that's going on right now. I think a lot of people have bailed out on Trump.
There you go. That's why Rubio's moving up.
Yeah, and Trump has cut his own throat. He was and has been and will always be his own worst enemy. When you look at this, look at the numbers here. The Iowa caucus showed that conservative voters, when they show up, we will win. Trump went on a rise. Trump dumped and Rubio rose. That means that those people who were, and when you looked at the debate, the last GOP debate, I was watching the study group with Frank Luntz. They had a room full of about 30 people in there. 3 people at the beginning of the debate went for Marco Rubio. At the end of the debate, more than half of them went with Rubio.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm not convinced that Trump wouldn't have won Iowa if Ted Cruz hadn't pulled the shenanigans with Ben Carson. I think it was all planned.
No, Cruz did what he was supposed to do. He pulled in the evangelical conservative vote. Now, in New Hampshire, he won't be able to do that to the same degree because there aren't that many evangelical conservatives in New Hampshire.
There aren't that many evangelicals in New Hampshire.
Rubio will benefit from that as well as Trump. I don't expect Cruz to come in above number 3 in New Hampshire just because of the dynamics of the demographics up there. So
he's certainly not going to let out a tweet that says, I'm going back to Texas for a week, and I'm not going anywhere near South Carolina or Nevada.
I wouldn't be surprised to have Cruz send out a public release that Rubio is canceling his presidential bid.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, we got to let that sit down because
I was trying to get the last word.
You want to pick up Bob's show out there, guys. You want to pick him up at robertcardozalive.com. He streams the same time we do. He's streaming right now, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 on the West Coast, 6 to 8 on the East Coast. Glad you took the time to join us today, Bob. We'll have more to talk about next week because the weekend coming up. They got a whole weekend to watch all this bashing going on.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll have plenty of information for our show. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
Outstanding, Bob.
And we'll be right back after these brief messages with our own David Garrett on the law.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law.
Hey, David, welcome aboard. Good to have you here, my friend. I listen, I want to know how your trip went last week.
Oh, it went really well. Yeah, I went up to northern Idaho, went snowmobiling. We got probably 5-6 inches of snow while we were there, and just had a wonderful time.
Well, that's great. That sounds great anyway.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. It was a little chilly, but was running from about 10 at night to about 25 in the day. And but, you know, if you dress for it, it's not a big deal. And we had a real good time up there.
That's the way you want it to be, right?
Oh, exactly.
So,
you know, I tell you a surprising thing, though. I come back to California after being in that cold weather, and, you know, we had that cold streak there. I think it was around 40 down here, but it felt cooler down here than it did up there.
Wow.
The only thing I can think is, you know, the moisture in the atmosphere must do something about that.
Yeah, the windshield.
Yeah. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah, listen, you're the trying to think of his name, Corey Freeberg, that you had on last week. Boy, he did a great job. I just wanted to let you know.
Oh, great. Very good. Yeah. He told me he enjoyed that, so I'm glad that worked out so well.
Super. Yeah, that worked out really well, and a very knowledgeable guy, and it was good. It made it kind of nice because I'm fairly knowledgeable when it comes to 1099s and independent contractors and employee statuses. So that worked out a really good conversation. So listen, what's hot on your hot button this week?
Well, I thought I'd tell you a story about a mom in Chicago and her trials and tribulations for letting her kids play in a park.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Let me tell you kind of what happened. You got this mom, and she has 3 boys. They're 11, 9, and 5 years old. And then she had a sister or somebody come over, and there was another boy involved, which was a cousin that was 9 years old. And these ladies live in an apartment, and they let the kids go play in the park in the early evening hours across the street. You know, I think that's a big deal. But And what they do is the women sat in there and visit, and the kids go out there and play in the park and run off their energy and, do what kids do. And about every 5 or 10 minutes, they'd get up and look out the window and make sure everything's okay. Well, doesn't seem to be a problem there to me, but along comes a teacher with some kids she had, and a preschool teacher visiting the park with her class. She assumes that the kids playing in the park are completely unsupervised and doesn't ask the kids what is going on, but takes her class back and places a call to DCFS, which is the Child Department of Children and Family Services in Illinois. Is a hotline call, and this prompts a downhill trip for a poor Miss lady in Chicago.
I would think.
Yeah. The DCFS gets out there and decides that what she's doing is what constitutes inadequate supervision. Apparently, the fact that the older boy had ADHD at 11 years old, they decided was not adequate to trust him to watch, to kind of keep an eye on the other ones too. And the lady gets charged with this inadequate supervision, results in a child neglect label being applied to her.
Well, David, let me stop you. How you got the 11-year-old who's supposed to be taking care of how many kids?
There's 2 9-year-olds and a 5-year-old.
Okay, so
there's 4 kids.
So you got the 2 9-year-olds who probably are rational. So it's the 11-year-old is the issue. Mom is across the street looking at him through the window.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to catch up to where you were at.
Yeah, they're literally, you could be to the kids in probably under 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And so this lady that gets labeled with this child neglect, well, she had a job in home health care, but because all of a sudden this gets reported to some registry someplace, she ends up losing her job and just, gets labeled as a person that engages in child neglect. In order to straighten this problem out, she has to go all the way through the Illinois appellate court.
Okay, so before you go there, I'm assuming that the Health and Human Services has taken these children, taken custody of these children.
Well, they didn't take them away from her.
Oh, okay.
So they just charged her with neglect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the label on her. I'm assuming.
So they charge her with neglect, and as a result, the lady loses her job. So now things are even tougher, and now she's got to defend herself. Can you even get a public defender for something like this?
No, they didn't have a public defender for that at all.
Oh, so she's just out of luck.
Yeah. I mean, none of the kids had any problems at all while they were playing in the park.
And they're not abused.
Not abused. Nothing wrong at all.
They're fed. They're clothed. Just this teacher decided to create a problem.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the definition of inadequate supervision. It says, to have inadequate supervision, a minor must have been left without supervision for an unreasonable period of time, without regard for the mental or physical health, safety, or welfare of the minor. That's what they charged her with violating. And it goes through the little administrative thing, and they find her guilty and put that label on her.
And that stays with her the rest of her life?
Well, she got it reversed, so we get to the appellate court and deal with that. But this inadequate supervision thing came into vogue when, you remember all the problems we used to have with what we called latchkey kids.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the idea. Is we didn't want kids coming home from school and being on their own for 4 or 5 hours every night with no supervision at all.
Right.
So
the interesting thing here, and I know I'm interrupting. You know what? Let me finish. Let me let you finish the story, and then we'll go into the interesting thing that I was thinking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, she has to get all the way through the Illinois appellate court to get this thrown out against her. And they get up there, and finally the court rules that, hey, that doesn't constitute child neglect, and got her taken off the central registry for the state of, neglectful parents. And they, expunged her record. And this is one comment from DCFS. Moving forward, the department will be taking a closer look at similar cases to ensure that we allow caretakers to be prudent parents in considering changes to department rules and procedure. So ultimately, after going through roughly 2+ years of complete utter nonsense, she gets it turned around, and now I guess her kids can play in the park.
Jeez. This is just crazy. This is just crazy.
Yeah.
The sad part about this is we created what I believe to be a good law, the latchkey law.
Yeah.
I believe it to be a good law, but the problem that we have is we didn't give any consideration to how you solve the latchkey problem, because the problem is created when you have 1 or 2 low-income parents that have to leave the house. They can't afford for child care. They have to leave the house to earn money to feed and clothe the kids and put a roof over their heads and send them to school. And what we're not doing is recognizing that and getting the help there for them.
Yeah. I mean, and then you get a law that's written that, is so vague that some knucklehead wants to crusade can go out and, do what they did to this lady for letting your kids play in the park that's across the street from your house.
And then, can you imagine? And I don't know enough to say this. I'm just sort of searching and surmising here and theorizing. But can you imagine the normal person that would be going through this? First of all, it could have been so much worse if they'd have actually taken custody of the kids. But the truth is can you imagine the mental anguish this lady must have been going through to have been accused of this, to have to defend herself, have to go to the Court of Appeals to get it resolved? There was nobody out there to help her.
Yeah. I don't understand this thing at all. I mean, to be real candid with you, I can't even understand how it got started.
Well, it's some teachers that over-exercise their authority. I know of a case. I can't get too specific about it, but I do know of a case where a new mother and new child, and they were at home, and the mother worked and the father worked, and the child was being cared for by a babysitter. Babysitter changed this baby's diaper, right? And found what the babysitter considered to be a pubic hair in the baby's diaper, and it was a baby girl. And so the babysitter actually reported this to the child care, right?
Okay.
Child care came out, took custody of the baby, and for something like 10 days or something. While this young couple, they had to defend themselves. Well, you know what? It wasn't a pubic hair that was in that diaper. It was all false. None of it had ever happened. They had to get an attorney. They had to defend themselves. They had all of these accusations being made. It hit the newspapers, and this young mother and young father, not knowing what was going to happen to their new baby girl. Can you imagine somebody just goes off half-cocked because they think that they want to get some notoriety, their 15 minutes of fame, and they ruin somebody's life. It could have ruined somebody's life that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is just scary.
Yeah. There's an old joke out there, about when you're disciplining your children, and the father is telling the son, hey, you know what? You cannot go get this, or you can't have that, whatever it might be. And the son says, "Oh, fine. I'll just call child care." Can you imagine if the kid is old enough and does call child care, and they do come out, they investigate, and the kid tries to propagate this thing? What could happen?
Oh yeah, I've seen that happen. I've seen retaliatory reportings to child care service.
Man.
But, I had cases, been years and years ago, very similar to what you were talking about, and it wasn't a sexual thing, but I had a baby that developed a subdural hematoma. And what had happened was, they don't really know how the kid got it, but the baby was having some problems, and they'd take it to the family doctor, and the family doctor would look the baby over and, send the baby back home with the parents, and this goes on for, I think it was a couple days, until all of a sudden the baby starts having a seizure, and they take him into emergency room, where they run the scan and find the subdural hematoma, and promptly take the baby away from the parents. And the baby was away for over 30 days.
Oh, geez.
And I go down to court to try and straighten this mess out and say, look, if there was any evidence of, at the time the shaken baby syndrome was in vogue, of that having, the family doctor would have seen it.
Yeah. You know what? And then we were just talking about the mental anguish and trauma to the parents. What about the child?
Yeah, you've separated an infant in crisis from the parents that love it.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? And we could talk about these horrible things that are done to innocent people. On the other hand, if you save one child from that kind of an abuse, it makes you think twice about how cautious are you going to be.
Yeah, and that's where the difficulty comes in. I mean, I like you, think that the latchkey kid situation ought to be properly addressed, and that is not a good situation to have children in.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, David, we got to take a short break. Why don't you give out your contact information? We'll take a short break and come back and continue our conversation.
Yeah, we can be reached on the web at www.lawbbg.com or on the phone 909-945-5000.
And we'll be right back with our own David Garrett on the law after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. Aho Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 74 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way to 48 degrees. But if you're listening to us in London, England, right now it's 52 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're listening to us in Vienna, Austria, it's 37 degrees and there's a light rain. But you know what? We're not going to rain on your parade here today. Our own David Garrett on the law is going to spread some sunshine. Hey, David, you've got the microphone.
So, like we were talking, I think both you and I agree that the latchkey kid idea needs to be addressed, and that that truly, in fact, probably does, whether it's intentional neglect or just circumstances dictate it. It does end up with the kids being treated in a neglectful manner.
Yeah, you know what? I think the scary thing is we all want young, innocent children, and that doesn't mean that they have to be infants. But we all want innocent, helpless children to be protected. That's just part of our human nature. But the other thing is you get these. I don't know. I was going to use a word that was going to be derogatory, but I'm not going to do that. You get some individuals out there that just think that playing games or doing some of these nasty things is just okay, and they just ruin other people's lives. And I don't know how you protect against that, and how you create laws that are going to protect the people that are falsely accused.
Yeah, and and that needs to be done. And the thing that's kind of interesting to me from a legal standpoint is when you read this definition, it's without supervision for an unreasonable period of time, without regard to the mental or physical health, safety, or welfare of a minor. Well, the difficulty with something like that is that it is so open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Not saying I don't have a good answer to the problem, other than some people ought to exercise common sense. But I mean, how would you define it to address all the latchkey kids thing? Are you going to say, well, 3 hours is too long, or are you going to say 2 hours is too long? I mean, there has to be some.
Well, I've actually known some 9-year-olds that have more common sense than adults that I've known.
Oh, I know.
You know,
that's kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, and so it is a little scary. You know, I think that at some point, you know, you think about kids that were raised in an era where you and I were raised, and you become self-confident and self-efficient, and you learn to be able to rely on yourself. I mean, if you're hungry, you can make a sandwich or cook a meal. You can ask for help if you need help. You're rational. You can do all those things. And in today's society, nobody was given the opportunity to learn those kinds of talents. That's something that you're supposed to learn when you're growing up, to be independent and to be self-sufficient and to be, you know, your own person and not rely so much on others. And that's what enables you to be able to help others when that need is there. I think in today's society, that just doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't. It does not exist. I mean, in my age, the age of those kids, I would have played at the park. Heck, I would have ridden my bike over to the school and played at the school ground.
Yeah, me too.
And nobody would have thought twice about it.
When I was a kid, I mean, I remember I was raised on a dairy, and on the weekend, sometimes in the morning, I'd get on my bicycle, and my dad had a dairy in Cypress, California. And I'd get on my bike and I'd ride that bike all the way to oh Jesus Christ, to
I was gonna say you've been going for a while there.
To Seal Beach, you know, and I'd ride the bike to Seal Beach. There was no big deal, and my parents didn't think anything of it. I also used to ride when my dad had a dairy in Cypress. Our church was in Artesia. And I'd get on and I used to serve mass. I'd get on my bike and I'd ride my bike to Artesia. My dad didn't think anything of it, you know. And I was a grammar school kid.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was in the 6th grade, for Pete's sake. I mean, I don't know, how old were you in the 6th grade? I guess that's 11, huh?
That's right about there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a little bit older, but I had already had that freedom for a long time. My parents trusted me. They raised me right. They taught me to be independent. Everybody in our family was that way, and now parents just I hate to say it, but they're kind of wishy-washy with their kids. They're afraid to let them do anything.
Yeah. Well, like this little woman, if you let them go play in the park, you're going to be a neglectful parent.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine not playing in the street, playing in the park?
Yeah. I mean, let's just kind of take a different. Modify the facts a little bit, but when I was that age, I would go to a park with my parents, and the park was probably 3-4 acres, you know, big. They're set up at one end of the park was where you'd go eat at, and they had the tables and all that other stuff, and then at virtually the other end of the park would be the jungle gyms and all the stuff kids want to play on.
Yeah.
Well, my parents would sit at the one end eating and doing what they did. We'd go play on the jungle gyms. They'd eventually yell at us, and we'd come back over and eat dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, how would that set of circumstances be any less neglectful than the woman watching the kid from across the street?
Well, I can give you another scenario. You know, Disneyland, the first Disneyland in Anaheim, opened up in 1955. I was 10 years old. Me and a good friend of mine got dropped off at the front gate of Disneyland. That's when they had ticket books. They didn't have, you know, this thing, A through E ticket books. And dropped off at Disneyland. We spent the entire day there. We, our parents were with us. We were 2 11-year-olds or 10 or 11-year-olds, right? And we're in a place that has thousands of people. What possibly could have happened? You know, things are different. Things were different, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
You know, and with today's laws, my parents would have been picked up, thrown in jail. They would have put us under somebody else's care, and we'd have never seen them again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I just don't understand things sometimes. I guess I don't know what the deal is, but we need to have some laws, but we need to have people that have common sense to apply the laws in the manner they were meant to, or to address the problem they were meant to correct.
Yeah, my grandson is 11 years old, He walks home from school, and it's I'm going to say I'm going to guess it might be a mile, maybe could be a mile and a half. I don't know from where he goes to school to home. He's got his own key. He unlocks it, goes in the house. About a half hour later or so, someone an adult shows up at the house. And which is fine. A lot of times, his parents want to go. They want to go out and eat some fast food, or go out and eat someplace. They take the younger son with them, and the older grandson, the one that's 11 years old, says, "I don't want to go. Let me just stay here." And we can't. No. Let me just stay here. I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's what they prefer. It's not like you're abusing them. It's almost abuse to drag them with you when they don't want to go.
Yeah. That's exactly the case. I think it has to depend on the child and on the circumstances. I mean, at my age, I was walking a mile from home starting in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
I might have even done it in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, and that was uphill both ways, huh?
It wasn't. I had this little cloud following me around, snowing on me as I...
You know what? I tell people quite often that I was raised in a much better world than what we live in today, or at least it seemed that way. I don't know if we were sheltered or what was going on, but it seemed to me we were in a lot more peaceful world. Even in school, school then, if you got in an argument with somebody, you got into a fight, you didn't want to kill him. You just wanted him to submit and say, "I give up." And usually you wound up being best friends and hugging each other after that. You didn't want to kill the guy.
Yeah. Society was much different. It was much more compassionate. I think society worked for the good of everybody.
Yeah.
Back then.
So what the heck happened?
I don't know. I wish I had an answer to that.
There's a part of me that wants to say, you were raised that same way, which is why you try to escape to Idaho as often as you do. Because you want to get back into a rural area where people are the same as they were when you grew up.
Yeah, and there's a lot of truth to that. I go up there, and it is much more like it used to be.
Yeah. It's sad that we lived in a much more passive, much more safe, much more comfortable world. We didn't have a lot of the fancy technology and stuff that we had today. I mean, personally, I miss phone booths. I think it just ruined Superman when they got rid of the phone booths.
Oh, yeah. But, the only thing I've kind of postulated sometimes is it might be a circumstance where you have one horrible event take place, and those did happen when we were around. Mm-hmm. But then there's an overreaction to it, and then people start realizing their own expectations, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's part of it. In some of these kids' situations, I think a lot of times kids would be just perfectly fine doing the same stuff that we did.
Yeah.
You're going to have every once in a while a problem, but we had the same problems back then, and they would take care of the problem.
Yeah, and I think that we didn't have as much violence in our lives, when we were growing up. You had television and you had all this stuff going on, but they didn't show you the kind of graphic violence that you see today. And today's young kids they're getting this stuff on the toys that you buy them. They're getting it on television. They're getting it in the movies, and they're starting to accept that as a normal way of life.
Yes, there's a lot of truth to that. And once you start accepting that, then you have it becomes what you expect.
Yeah.
Or you create what you expect. That's probably a better way of saying it. But
I
don't know.
I think probably not a good analogy to draw, but when you're a young kid and your dad or your uncle or your brother or somebody takes you hunting for the first time with a real rifle or a real a gun, and the first time you pull that trigger, you're scared, you're afraid, you're apprehensive. There's a lot of anxiety there, and then the more you pull the trigger, the more comfortable you become with it, and the more you terminate the lives of animals, even though we ate the ones we shot. The more you terminate them, the easier it is to shoot them. And I'm wondering if that's what today's society is, that these gangs and these guys, because that's what, the first time might have been tough, but then the second time wasn't quite as bad, and pretty soon you don't have any value for anybody's life or anybody's well-being.
Right. Yeah, you become desensitized.
Yeah.
And in the process, you lose the value of your own life.
That's right. That's right.
And it's, the sad thing about all this, the reason I brought this up was just to show how a law can be so misapplied. But when you get down to it and you start applying this level of protection, and all of a sudden the poor kid has turned 18 years of age, and I've never seen a lightning bolt come out of the sky and install wisdom magically on the 18th-year-old birthday.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
No, it certainly doesn't. I remember when I was a young kid, I forget who I'm quoting, but someone once said that you were assumed to have reached the age of reason at 7 years old. Well, I mean, obviously that's a generalized statement, and probably the majority of people, did. I've got a 6-year-old grandson who is about as logical as he can be. And sometimes it's embarrassing because I try to kid around with him, and he's so doggone logical that it's embarrassing. He knows he is beyond him. The kind of joke you're trying to pull.
Right.
They see right. They see right. Yeah, they see right through it. So times have certainly changed. I mean, if you think about it. You and I, when we went to kindergarten, it was a place where, somebody babysat with us. The truth is, in the first grade, it was pretty much like being babysat with. And today, you know what? You go to preschool and you start learning science and you learn to read and you got your alphabet. You're doing all that stuff before you even get to kindergarten, for Pete's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, kids aren't allowed to be kids.
No, not at all. Well, David,
but then,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you also run into the failure where there's a ton of people coming out the other end at the end of high school and don't know how many states we have, can't read a map. And I'm just talking to a buddy here.
I see interviews with college kids that can't tell you who the president of the United States is or the Secretary of State. I mean, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. This guy's talking to this afternoon. His kid's going to college. And they actually had a college class on how to read a topographical map.
Oh, man.
Blue means water. Black means it's a man-made object. I mean,
yeah.
I don't.
You know what? Common sense has been thrown right out the window. Anyway, my friend, if this is, I don't know what it is with you. The time goes by. You steal time from me, I think.
I apologize. I thought this was a fun one today.
Yeah. Anyway, you going to go fishing this weekend?
No, I think Teresa's got the weekend kind of lined up for me. So.
You know what? Tell her you have to watch the Super Bowl.
We're going to do that.
All right.
So who are you pulling for?
Oh, well, you know what? I know that Carolina Panthers are going to win, but I really would like to see the Denver Broncos win because of Peyton Manning. I'd like to see him go out with a high,
Yeah, that's kind of my tendency right now. It'd be nice to see him end his career that way.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, go out and make it a great evening. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Stay happy. Make everybody around you happy, because that's what you actually do. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, and have a great weekend too, Bob.
All righty. And the rest of you, stick around, because we're still going to do the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:43 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 73 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. On its way down to 48 degrees. But you know what? If you're one of our listeners in Madrid, Spain, it's currently 36 degrees and clear. Boy, it is chilly. And if you're listening to us in Tokyo, Japan, 43 degrees and mostly cloudy. It's 9:43 in the morning, but it's tomorrow morning. But right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is, don't let jet lag ruin your next business trip. You know, crossing time zones for a business meeting can leave you feeling tired and groggy just when you need to be your most productive. Help yourself regain focus with the following strategies. You know what? First of all, arrive 1 or more days early to give your body more time to adjust to the new time zone. If you can't arrive early, try adjusting your activity schedule to the new time zone while you're still at home. I know a lot of people who do that, and it works. You know, if you're landing in a new time zone when it's bedtime back home, try staying awake for the day. Walking outside and exposing yourself to sunlight can help suppress the melatonin production, a key promoter of sleep, encouraging your body to shift to the new time zone. And then finally, try to schedule the most important activities in your temporary time zone to align with your peak energy levels in your home time zone. I can't tell you how very important that really is. Well, you know what? It's time for the secret daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You hear me talking about it all the time. You really decide what's going to happen in your life, whether you're a success or a failure, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're happy or sad, whether you've got friends or enemies. You can decide that. You can decide it every day. You have to decide. You're the one that kicks it off. You kickstart it because it's all about a positive mental attitude. So the secret for today is if you want to receive everything and anything that you're dreaming of for you, know that it is through your joy, your happy feeling inside this happens. It is the fastest path. Your joy, you feeling good, is the shortcut to everything you want. When you choose to be happy now, no matter what is happening around you, you have unleashed the magic of the universe to pour unlimited happiness into your life. Now, don't laugh. I'm telling you, this stuff really works. Well, we all know what day it is. It is Friday, February the 5th, and it is somebody's birthday. And oh boy, we got some good birthdays for today. Here's a guy that was born in 1934. Baseball outfielder, widely considered one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Happy birthday, Hank Aaron. Yeah, and here's another athlete that was really, really famous. We all know he was born in 1942. Hall of Fame Dallas quarterback. He was drafted when went to Vietnam, then came back to play football. Happy birthday, Roger Staubach. And then finally, born in 1964, an actress who has won 3 Emmy Awards, a Golden Globe, and a Screen Actors Guild Award. Happy birthday, Laura Linney. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what happened today in history? I can tell you that on February the 5th, 1885, King Leopold II of Belgium establishes the Congo as a personal possession. You got it right. Personal possession. And in 1919, Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks, and D.W. Griffith launch United Artists. Yeah. Been around a long time, huh? How about this? February the 5th, 1972, Bob Douglas becomes the first African-American elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Well, let's talk about the quote for today. It comes from George Bernard Shaw. He says, "Youth is wasted on the young." Yeah, go figure, right? Well, you know what? It's time for the interesting but useless fact. We've got some good ones for you. Let's give you a few of them. The number of births in India each year is greater than the entire population of Australia. Give that some thought. There's a thought for you. How about this? The Earth sees about 760 thunderstorms every hour. Scientists have calculated. And here's one for you. 2 out of 3 adults in the United States wear glasses at some time. Sometimes maybe just reading glasses, but at some time they wear glasses. How about this? Did you know that 45% of people use mouthwash daily? Makes you wonder about the other 55%, doesn't it? Here's one for you. The Miss America contest was created in Atlantic City in 1921 with the purpose of extending the tourist season beyond Labor Day. That was the whole purpose for that. Yeah, get enough pretty girls out there and they'll go. Yeah, absolutely. Here's one. The first suburban shopping mall was opened in 1922 by National Department Stores in St. Louis, Missouri. And let me leave you with this one. Believe that Buddha, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad are all prophets from God? Have you heard of the Baha'i faith? Give that some thought. Now, Do not go away. When we get back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Emmeline Mayone from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, asking about being a head of household. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Well, it's currently 73 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. But you know what? If you're listening to us in Sydney, Australia, it's 75 degrees and mostly cloudy. In Auckland, New Zealand, 77 degrees and overcast. But you know what? We've also got friends listening to us in Hong Kong, and it's 55 degrees and scattered clouds. And you know what? A place I love most, my heritage is from there, Lisbon, Portugal, is 54 degrees and mostly cloudy. But you know what? It's time for our emails for the day. And I want to caution you that this is an entertainment part of the show. We do this and try to answer your questions as comprehensively as we can. But you know what? Sometimes the information you give us is a little sketchy. So we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional before you go out and do anything. It's certainly going to save you more money than they cost you. And they're going to give you peace of mind and allow you to sleep at night. Now, let's get into our emails. The first one comes from Emmeline Mayung from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, asking about head of household. It says, My daughter lives with me, and I've been filing as a head of household. She's a full-time student, and I pay more than half her expenses, but she turned 24 during the past year, had $16,500 of income, and took an exemption for herself on her own tax return. Do I still qualify to file as head of household? Well, Emmeline, unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. Your daughter no longer is a qualifying child because she was not under the age of 24 at year end, and she is not any other kind of qualifying person because her income is over the personal exemption amount. Now, the fact that she claimed an exemption for herself on her own tax return also bars her from being a qualifying person. So, if your daughter is the only person for whom you provide a household, you no longer qualify for head of household. Next email comes from Julian Okerreach from Bend, Oregon, saying no salary for proprietorship, and writes, if I set up a sideline business as a proprietorship, can I set my salary from it at zero so that profits will build up in the business without my paying tax on them? Julian, unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. The proprietorship does not pay salary to its owner. Instead, all of its income is taxed to its owner, subject to both income tax and self-employment tax. However, setting up a qualified retirement plan for it may let you save all or much of its income tax-free. A solo 401k lets you save the first $15,500. That's $20,500 if you're 50 years old or older of business income, plus 20% of net business income. So let me give you an example of that. Let's just say that you're 50 years old and your sideline makes $25,000. You can save all its income in a solo 401k. Now, the alternative? Setting up your new business as a corporation lets you set a salary for yourself. This entails many complications, though, so consult an expert before you do that. Next email comes from Nicholas Pino from Allegheny, Pennsylvania, asking about joint liability, and says, in many years, or past years, my husband hid income from the IRS, so I filed separately to avoid being liable for his taxes. Now, he's reporting all of his income and wants to file joint returns with me. Will filing jointly with him now make me liable for his back taxes and penalties for those past years? No, that's not going to happen. It won't. Joint liability for your spouse's taxes applies only in years for which you file a joint return with your spouse. Now, filing a joint return after a period of filing separate returns does not retroactively create joint liability for the separate return years. However, before filing jointly, be absolutely sure your husband is not continuing to understate his income. IRS scrutiny of prior years may lead to the current return and ultimately include your items. So any overpayment might then apply to those back taxes. So you want to be careful. Now, my last email today comes from Ruthie Reyes from Amarillo, Texas, asking about deductible medical expenses. I feel a sneeze coming on. I'm having a tough time fighting it. Anyway, she writes, my mother lives with me, and I claim her as a dependent. Can I include her Medicare Part D premiums for her prescription drug benefit in my deductible medical expenses? Well, it's about time, Ruthie, we got to a yes. Medicare premiums paid under both Part B, which is outpatient insurance, and Part D, which is prescription drug benefit, qualify as deductible medical expenses. Now, normal rules apply, so you can deduct the medical expenses of a dependent, and your deduction is limited to the amount by which the total medical expenses exceed 10% of your adjusted gross income. So hopefully that helps you out. See? Now, having said all that, I want to remind everybody that we're encouraging you to go out and get our app. It's available for Apple products and Windows products and Android products. If you've got an Apple product, go to the Apple Store and just search Robert Cardoza Live. It'll come up. It's absolutely free. Download it. You can listen to our show live if we're broadcasting live. It'll indicate that. Otherwise, you can listen to our archive shows, and you can even chat with us during the show. If you have a Windows product or Android product, just go to googleplay.com and do the same search, Robert Cardoza Live. The app is right there. And again, it's absolutely free. And you know what? We'd appreciate it. It helps us, and we'd appreciate it if you'd tell your friends all about it as well. Now, on my next show, John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I are going to be talking politics on the Conservative Syndicate simulcast that we do twice a week. We do it every Monday and every Friday. And then John Hansen's going to be here, that little old wine drinker. He'll be talking about food and wine. He's always interesting to listen to. And I'm going to ask you to please tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.